Hi everyone, Ian here from the Media Center, and in today's video I'll be covering some of the differences and additional features available on the Blackmagic Pocket 6K Pro. Now for a full breakdown of the Blackmagic Pocket cameras, please make sure you watch our first video in this series, which primarily focuses on the Pocket 4K. That video covers the majority of the camera from an external and internal point of view. The UI in the 6K and 4K are almost identical, with only a few additional features. Similarly, the external button layout is also identical. However, the power solution and viewing areas are slightly different, and these are the areas I'll be covering in this video. So what's changed between the 4K model and this new 6K variant? Well, first is the battery solution. On the 4K model, we used an MPF adapter which connects to a dummy battery. In the new 6K model, this is more refined. Blackmagic changed the type of batteries used in the camera from Canon EP to Sony MPF. In addition, Blackmagic also released a new battery grip which added an even longer recording time. The first battery is housed directly in the camera, while the second and third are in the battery grip. The grip is hot swappable, meaning if one of these batteries dies, you can swap it out and recording will be uninterrupted. To attach the grip, ensure the connection pins and screw threads are aligned and simply twist and lock into place. A lock and unlock icon are visible at the front of the grip so you know which way to turn. Another new feature of the 6K is its screen. This is no longer fixed and can be tilted up and down, making it easier to monitor your shots. This new screen also boasts 1500 nits of brightness as opposed to the 4K's 400 nits, making it far more usable in direct sunlight. In addition, the 6K Pro also now comes with a fantastic OLED EVF with a proximity sensor and adjustable diopter. The EVF also has an accurate focus chart and provides you with critical status information. In addition, EVFs can be really useful if the LCD screen becomes difficult to see in certain lighting conditions. But for me, I also find them incredibly useful for stabilizing the camera during handheld shooting. The 6K Pro also uses an EF mount as opposed to the Micro Four Thirds mount found on the 4K. This means the 6K no longer requires a Metabones adapter to use our Canon glass. Along the ports, the 6K Pro also has one additional mini XLR port, meaning you can now feed multiple external XLR microphones, such as a Sennheiser 416, directly into the camera. A big change to the system is the addition of the built-in ND filters, which can now be enabled from two buttons at the back of the camera. These can be adjusted across 2, 4, and 6 stops. Having built-in NDs provides not only convenience, because you don't need to screw on external filters, but they're also specifically engineered to work with the camera's sensor, meaning there's less risk of vignetting and color shifts. For me, this is one of the most important updates to the camera, and it's great to see Blackmagic address this feature. Internally, the camera also has some significant changes, these being the resolution, the new Gen 5 color science, and a new screen calibration tool which allows you to accurately set the white balance of the screen. The Gen 5 color science is the same one used in their larger Ursa cameras and improves on both skin tone and color. And the new 12-bit gamma curve is designed to capture even more information across the highlights and shadows. This new color science also helps handle some of the image processing when shooting in Blackmagic RAW, allowing its color and dynamic range to be preserved in the metadata, providing even greater flexibility for color correction adjustment in post-production. This Gen 5 color science has been a universal upgrade, meaning it's now installed on both the 4K as well as the 6K Pro. For resolution, the camera can capture up to 50 frames per second in 6K as opposed to 50 frames in 4K. The 6K image will produce a slightly sharper and cleaner image and will provide some additional space for cropping if editing on a 1080p or 4K timeline. The camera also updated the histogram, which now provides a full RGB scale, so you can see where the different color channels are sitting across the exposure range. Furthermore, a traffic light system has also been added to the clipping side of the histogram, showing the user when a specific color channel has gone past the clipping point and overexposed. This is providing a lot more guidance for the operator. The false color chart has also had a small update, and this now has an exposure value scale overlaid at the side, meaning you can identify which color represents which light level. This is really useful for your black point, middle gray exposure, skin tone exposure, and clipping point. These have also been added to the 4K model as well. Finally, a new addition to the UI is the color calibration window. This was created because of a calibration issue which occurred when the 6K Pro was first released, which meant some of the LCD screens produced a strong blue or green tint, which made it very difficult to judge your white balance. This new window not only fixes that issue, but it also allows you to manually dial in the temperature based on your own screen's characteristics. It also means that if the screen's color temperature shifts over time, which many screens do as they age, you'll be able to manually readjust this when needed. To access the new calibration tool, navigate to the setup window, swipe across to page 5, and in here you'll see LCD white balance calibration. When you enter this setting, it'll ask you to adjust the controls on the next screen so that the two reference patches look neutral. By neutral, this means that the grey patch and white patch shouldn't appear too warm or too cool or have an obvious magenta or green tint. Because most camera monitors are never perfectly calibrated straight out of the factory, and each screen will have a slight variance, this manual scale is a really good option to ensure each screen suits each user's needs. Remember, if you ever need a full breakdown of either camera's settings, then go and watch my first Blackmagic video, which is also linked in the description below. Cheers for watching, keep shooting, keep being creative, and we'll see you soon.